Next on Primetime, the AFC Central is back after a week off. Some can't contain their enthusiasm, while others need to brush up on the rule book. The undefeated Skins and the once-defeated Bears met head-on at Soldier Field. The Vikings learned a tough lesson. You can contain Barry Sanders for just so long. The Giants vowed that starting today, things would be different, while for others, things remain the same. Week 6 on NFL Primetime, we're going head over heels. Everybody, welcome to week number 6 of ESPN's NFL Primetime. I'm Chris Berman. Joining me, as always, on NFL Primetime, Tom Jackson. Robin Roberts is not with us this evening. She's had a death in her family. All of us here at ESPN send out our condolences to Robin and her family. We have some things to tell you about in week number 6. Only 2 late games played around the NFL, and both of those are over, so we'd like to welcome all of you that get to watch the show in its entirety. The San Diego Chargers have finally broken through into the win column. Their first win this year. They win at the Mausoleum over the Raiders 21-13. New York Giants weren't great, but they held the Phoenix Cardinals to single digits in the rain at the Meadowlands. Giants won it by 11, 20-9. We'll have highlights of both of those games a little bit later on in NFL Primetime. We've had some great football played in the first 5 weeks of the NFL season. Today was a different week, and with our apologies to teams like the Redskins and the Oilers who look real good, we then give you the Philadelphia Eagles and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. We know the Eagles have no quarterback. Randall hurt, Jim McMahon hurt, but they get a break because they get to play the winless Tampa Bay Buccaneers. But the Bucs were a different team. After all, their hex had been removed. What do you mean their hex had been removed? That's right. On Friday night, Frank Jerry, a cross between a Catholic and an Afro-Cuban priest, got rid of the Tampa Bay Buccaneer hex, so he said. Do you believe it, Vinny Testaverde? No. He's sacked by Reggie White. He loses 7 yards. In the first half, the understatement of the year, neither team looked good. Vinny's pass picked up by Byron Evans, but look what happens. Evans running with the football, but then he fumbles! And Paul Gruber, the tackle, falls on it in the end zone, Tom.
Byron Evans tucking the ball away late. Defender gets a good hand on him, gets the shot, knocks the ball out.
Carrying it like the proverbial loaf of bread. Second quarter, no score. And Brad Aesop's Gable is the quarterback today for the Eagles. But he was a fairy tale. Darrell Fullington picks it off, and the Buccaneers are on the move at the 38-yard line. Did I say on the move? No, Vinny Testaverde started today. And he throws to the end zone, incomplete. He throws to the end zone, incomplete. On third down, he throws near to receivers, incomplete. Vinny, 5 of 18 for 52 yards and a pick. Steve Christie is usually pretty good. But on this afternoon, lightning did not strike again. Christie wide to the right. A scoreless first half. Well, at least for the defensive coordinators, Bud Carson on the left, Lloyd Peters on the right, they were getting the job done. It's now 6-0 Eagles in the third quarter. Gary Anderson will fumble the football. Wes Hopkins going to dive in there and pick it up for the Philadelphia Eagles. On the Bucs' next possession, Robert Wilson has the ball stripped by Seth Joyner. And Eagles recover. On the Bucs' next drive, Vinny Testaverde. He's dropped. Seth Joyner. The ball squirts to the end zone. It's a classic Eagle drive for a touchdown. 13-0 against Richard Williamson. Vinny leaves the game with a chipped right thumb, so they say. So they bring in Chris Chandler. He immediately turns things around. Not. It's picked off by Wes Hopkins, but a great play.
On the 3, lateral it back to the 2. Good football.
Heads up football. Chandler then is intercepted by Eric Allen, number 21. And he goes over to Coach Williamson for some advice. This is the advice. Get rid of the hex. Get rid of the hex. Down 13-0 late in the fourth quarter. Oh, my goodness, the Buccaneers score a touchdown. Robert Wilson, first NFL touchdown on the pass from Chandler. The Bucs trail at 13-7. Less than 2 minutes to go in the game. Rich Kotite wonders if the defense can hold it. But Chris Chandler to Lawrence Dawsey. And he gets down to the 5-yard line here. Wrong decision for Ben Smith.
But when your offense is playing the way they are, you'll take chances like this on defense. Ben Smith cuts in front of the receiver, tries to make the INT, misses it. A lot of football field behind him.
Next play, Chandler to Bruce Hill. The Buccaneers, with just over minutes ago, have taken the 14-13 lead. Chandler's numbers, well, he threw 2 touchdown passes. What more do you need to know? And on the ensuing kickoff, the Eagles, thinking they need a field goal, guess what? A fitting end to this game. It's a fumble. Tampa Bay recovers. The Buccaneers, in a game that sets football back about 20 years, beat the Philadelphia Eagles by a count of 14-13. But hey, they hadn't won all year. They win a game, and congratulations to the Buccaneers, who go into bye week at least with a win. Tommy, the Philadelphia Eagles, you know, they showed a lot of character. After Randall went down, they rallied around Jim McMahon, but they're in a tough spot now at quarterback.
Well, it's a shame, Chris. This team has just gone too far down the roster with their quarterbacks to have any significant offense at all, and it's a shame because they're playing pretty good defensive football, playing pretty good special teams football. But once your quarterback plays as bad as they're getting from that quarterback position, it affects the whole football team.
You know, we think back, Tommy, to the Cleveland Browns team. What was it, of '88, when Kosar went down in the first game, Gary Danielson went down in the next game. They had Mike Onion Pagel, they had Don Strock, but they got in the playoffs anyway. They made the wild card game. Makes you think of what a good coaching job Schottenheimer had to do, because you're seeing what's happening right now with the Philadelphia Eagles with Gable and Pat Ryan. Speaking of which, those two have amassed 7 quarters in the NFL the last 2 weeks. And take a look at their numbers. 14 of 36 for 92 yards, no touchdowns, and 5 interceptions. Sometimes the numbers lie. Here, well, there they are. Coming up next, the rest of week number 6, and an intriguing week it was. The New England Patriots and the Miami Dolphins. Which team could even its mark at 3-3? We'll be back with all the highlights in a moment.
NFL Primetime is brought to you by Dollar Rent-A-Car. Right on the airport, right on the money. And by Smooth, Busch Beer, and easy drinking Busch Light.
Week 6 highlights. The Jets are becoming a highlight team. They're skilled players against the Cleveland Browns. After a week off, the Houston Oilers were raring to go against the Denver Broncos. And in a battle of teams that combined had only 1 loss, the Redskins and the Chicago Bears, who've got plenty to show you if you keep it where it is. For prime time, let's head now to the AFC East, up where they have grass now in Foxborough, which means on a rainy day, perhaps tough terrain. The Miami Dolphins and the New England Patriots, each at 2-3. New England a lot happier about their 2-3 record than the Dolphins are. Could Don Shula actually go 2-4 if he lost at New England? That was a serious question to ask today. Dick McPherson looking for his 2nd straight home win. Remember the last time they were home, they beat the Houston Oilers. John Stevens got the nod today, goes in for the 1-yard line over the 2nd rushing touchdown of the season. For the Patriots, it's enough to give them a 7-0 lead on their first possession of the game. Patriots have a pretty good rushing defense under Joe Collier. Passing defense, a different story. Dan Marino hits Tony Martin. Martin is stripped by Freddie Marion, and another veteran, Andre Tippett, recovers. Marino has seen this happen before. His offense has been sluggish. Passing game was off the hands of Mark Clayton. Then Marino to Tony Martin, but he can't quite handle the pass. McPherson is fired up. Don Shula is not. So you get my point there. And Marino is not happy with what's going on. So we tried the shovel pass to Aaron Craver. He rumbles 12 yards, but he fumbles. Jerome Henderson recovers, but the officials rule Craver down by contact.
And you watch Craver's knee, it appears to be down before the ball pops out. It's inconclusive. Possession with the Dolphins.
Next play, Marino steps up. He gets the break. That's a beautiful pass to Mark. Super duper. Next play, Marino to the other Mark brother. Mark Clayton from
Louisville.
24-yard touchdown, and the Dolphins lead at 10-7. Marino and Shula, they're like feuding cousins right there. Then after the Patriots punted, Marino goes for Mark Clayton. Now the referees have ruled that Clayton traps the ball here.
Pass initially called incomplete, but if you watch very closely, you see him get both hands under the ball. Like any good Louisville receiver, brings it in.
And like any good replay official, they will overrule it. And so Miami in business. Marino to Crash Jensen, 5 yards. Very quickly, the Dolphins lead at 17-7. Second quarter alone, Marino's thrown for 219 yards, 2 touchdowns in about a minute. They hadn't thrown 2 touchdown passes in the last 3 games. Patriots trying to come back. Hugh Millen keeps the drive alive. Dick McPherson fears a touchdown is coming up. But on 3rd and 9, picked off in the end zone by J.B. Brown. The Patriots squander a golden opportunity. Bad news for Dolphin fans. Real bad news. They've had injuries already this year. John Offerdahl goes for Millen. T.J. Turner, his teammate, accidentally rolls into Offerdahl's planted knee. Offerdahl carted off rest of the game. No report yet. Dolphins. And that's a tough break for sure. Dolphins' D was tough, though, without Offerdahl, at least on this afternoon. Eludes E.J. Jr., but then Oglesby, T.J. Turner, they get him. And McPherson was stressed for the last 3 quarters because Miami never really allowed New England a chance to get back in the game. Gave them only a field goal. And the Dolphins now are beating the Patriots again. This used to be a team that controlled them, beat them 7 in a row. But now Miami's beating them 5 in a row. Miami wins it by the count of 20-10. Staying in the division, the New York Jets are at the Cleveland Browns. Bruce Coslett. His running game had been great, but on this day, the Cleveland Browns had the answer. They stuffed Freeman McNeil, and they stuffed Brad Baxter. The Browns' defense second best in the league. So, Jets go to the air on 3rd and 9. Kenny O'Brien rolling out smartly and a good catch by his tight end. Mark Boyer holds on despite the hard hit from Harlan Barnett. Then Blair Thomas takes the handoff. No, he's going to fire it. The Jets jazzing it up. Thomas, Rob Moore, touchdown, 80-yard drive, 8 minutes and 40 seconds, and the Jets on the board. Bernie Kosar has a pass dropped by Brian Brennan. Could have been a first down. It was O'Brien that had the hot hand. Here to Al Looney Tune, wide open for 39 yards. Kenny O'Brien, 128 yards passing in the first half. Frank Minifield left with a very painful bruised shoulder. X-rays negative. It was not separated. 4th and 5. The Jets going for it. They go to Tune. 2nd and goal. Brad Baxter punches it in at the half. The Jets, that's right, the Jets lead it 14-0. Second half, the Jets can't get the offensive gear. Blair Thomas catches the ball, but Harlan Barnett again on the hit. James Jones going to pick up the ball. Something down to the 5-yard line. That sets up a guy almost as big. Kevin Mack stuffs it in from the 1. 3rd touchdown of the year, and the Jets lead it down to 14-7. Then Kosar to Leroy Horde. 4-yard touchdown pass. We are knotted at 14 in Cleveland. Could the Jets blow another second-half lead? O'Brien to Al Toon. They keep doing it.
Well, once the Cleveland Browns keyed on the running game and lost Frank Minifield, you knew that O'Brien and Toon were going to take advantage going up top, especially when you have a height advantage of an Al Toon as a receiver.
And you get Minifield out. That's the 6th DB hurt this year for Cleveland. They get a pass interference call there. Pat Leahy comes on to boot a 48-yard field goal, and the Jets lead it 17-14. 4th and 1, Kevin Mack surges for a first down. Bernie Kosar hadn't thrown an interception all year, but running with the ball on 3rd and 4, he coughs it up. Mike Grimm with the hit. Lonnie Young with the recovery. The Jets hold on to beat Kosar and the Browns. The Jets winning it 17-14. A good ball game played at Cleveland, but the Jets win for the 2nd straight week. Last week, they blasted Miami, and I think, Tommy, a big win for a young football team in the Jets because, you know, last week we found out they could come back after some tough losses like to the Bears on Monday night and to the Bills. This was a game they were supposed to win on the road. Young teams often stumble in this situation. The Jets did not.
Good young team with a lot of talent. You know, Mike Dicker on a local radio show was asked, what's the best team that you've played this year? And I think everyone thought he would say Buffalo Bills. He said the New York Jets. Why? I think credit to offensive line coach Larry Bechtel of the Jets. He's put together a good unit up front, and even when they don't run the ball well, people know they have the capability. Takes a lot of pressure off O'Brien so that he was able to throw the ball like he did today.
And O'Brien looks good when he has some time, and also, you know, the Jets are building. They have excellent skill players, and O'Brien found a lot of them, and Blair Thomas found another one, and Rob Moore. They're on their way. They are 3-3. All right. Let's look inside the numbers. And you mentioned, Tommy, the good offensive line play by the Jets. A couple of years ago, when the Joe Walton crew was here, through the first 6 games, the Jets line had allowed 21 sacks. Last year at this stage, 19. This year, through 6 games, only 9. You're seeing the difference start to show on the records. When we come back, Barry Sanders. Vikings did a good job against him. For the most part. We'll show you what happened late. Big game in the NFC Central today because the division gets a bye next week. And the Detroit Lions were looking at their early season Super Bowl. Why, you say? Minnesota came in with a 2-3 record? Well, the Vikings had beaten the Lions 8 of the last 9 meetings. So the Lions now playing a good team in danger of going 2-4 for the break. were they really good enough to restore the roar in the Silverdome? Barry Sanders, 3 straight 100-yard games, never has had one against the Vikings because the Vikings know how to defend him, Tommy. They did a good job.
They did a good job of stacking the middle in between the tackles. They knew that they would be concentrating on trying to run Barry Sanders right there, and early in this football game, they shut him down.
Herschel Walker had a sore shoulder. He told Coach Burns he could go. He said, no, sir, we'll go with Darren Nelson. And early on, it paid off. Nelson with an 11-yard touchdown scamper, 7-0 Minnesota in the first. Wayne Fonts and Rodney Peete hope the Lions can come back. But a pretty good rush. The ball is tipped and picked off by Joey Browner. And he'll return it all the way down to the 17-yard line. The Vikings are in business. Then, first and goal. Rich Gannon started today for Wade Wilson. Steve Jordan from
Brown University.
14-3 Vikings lead at the half. Lions go back to the drawing board. What are they going to do? Well, if you can't run them, what are you going to do, Tom?
Good job by the coaching staff of making the adjustment. How can we get Barry Sanders the ball? Let's dump him the ball, get him in some one-on-one situations with defensive backs outside the tackle. And once you get him the football, watch his head. Talk about having your head on a swivel. He's seen everywhere at once. They say hand-feet coordination and eye-feet coordination.
As I said, better than Linda Blair in The Exorcist. Rodney Peete looking for a big strike. They're down 20-3 with just 7 minutes to go. A big Viking lead. But Peete to Robert Clark has about 8 steps on the defenders and let him go. 68 yards. It's a 20-10 Viking lead.
He freezes the defender, Rutland, breezes by him, gets 5 yards behind the defender. Just a bad job of Rutland biting on the out tackle.
But the Vikings still lead it by 10. With 6:50 to go, the Lions with a big gamble. They go onside kick. Eddie Murray kicks it off the hands of Anowski. And Toby Castone recovers for Detroit. The gamble pays off. They're still down by 10. Barry Sanders up the middle. If you had him, what would you do next, Tom?
Go to Barry Sanders.
Barry Sanders on the left side goes for 20 yards. You see the clock. It's almost 4.5 minutes. Then Willie Green. He's been money this year for Rodney Peete. 16-yard touchdown, 20-17. Minnesota leads 4:22 to go. This time, no onside kick. They kick it off normally, and the Lions defense holds. Eric Allen trapped by George Jamison, and Minnesota has to punt. Less than 3 minutes to go. The flip to Barry Sanders. Sanders will juke left. He'll juke right. He'll go out of bounds for 10 yards. Then Sanders. He'll go right. He'll go left. He'll go right. He'll go left. He'll spin for 14 yards. Now, under a minute to go. It's still a 3-point Minnesota lead. Barry Sanders to the 5. It's a touchdown. But they have to make sure, Tom.
As you watch this play, Barry Sanders, with all his moves, he squeezes, he freezes Joey Browner, he squeezes past Rutland. Knee is down, but that ball has crossed the plane.
After further review by instant replay, play stands as called. Touchdown.
The referee with the best suspense in the house. So after holding Sanders for 3 quarters, he gets 192 yards total offense. The Lions come from behind to win it. 24-20, their biggest fourth-quarter comeback since 1957. In 1957, they won the NFL championship. Just thought you should know. And for the Vikings, a lot of head scratching. They lose it 24-20. Elsewhere, the Cowboys at the Packers in Milwaukee. And there it is. It's not the frozen tundra of Lambeau Field. It's chilly Milwaukee. Don Mikowski, slightly separated shoulder, signaling plays to Blair Winged Keel. And Winged Keel throwing some curveballs. And it's a bomb, and it's Keel. Now looking Allen Rice, the short pass. It's nice touch. Then Keel looking to... Then, some great quarterbacking today. Keel, bobbles, dribbles. No, incomplete to Jeff Query. Lindy Fonte said, we got some good plays here, but kind of hard to run them. Tommy?
And
then what?
And then when Keel did throw the ball well, Larry Brown makes a nice play here. Sterling Sharp has it. Brown comes right over the top and strips him on the sideline.
Dallas has played some aggressive D. You've seen Brown before, and watch Isaac Holt against Keith Woodside. Nails him right there. Isaac Holt again. This time Perry Kemp learns his number in a hurry. And when it rains, it pours. Watch what happens here in the second quarter. Keel back to pass. Where is it going? And Ray Horton rumbling, bumbling, stumbling. And watch right here, Tom.
I've never seen a guy pull his blocker out of the way so he can run.
Horton makes it pay off. He hears a who for a 65-yard touchdown. Blair Keel in his third professional start. Not enjoying it so far. Dallas defense wants more. Isaac Holt, he's all over again. He was great against the Giants, makes the juggling INT here. Blair Keel threw for only 83 yards in the first half. On the other side of the ball is a quarterback of whom we don't speak the same words. Troy Aikman. To his tight end, Jay Novacek. 10 yards. Aikman waits, fires the quick pass to Novacek. 14-0 Dallas late in the second. He went to Novacek 11 times for 121 yards in the afternoon. 4 seconds to go in the half. 14-0 Dallas. And Chris Jackie hits what seems to be an oh-by-the-way Packer field goal. Makes it 14-3. But the Pack get the second half kickoff. And although their offense couldn't do much, in 14 seconds, their special teams are going to score 10 points. Charles Wilson, he could go all the way. All of a sudden, it's a 14-10 ball game, thanks to the special teams. Now it's 20-10 late in the fourth quarter. The Pack trying to come back. Keel to Sterling, who was sharp into the end zone, 13 yards, 20-17. With a minute 20 to go on 3rd and 5, Emmitt Smith gets the crucial first down to stop the Packer comeback. And Jimmy Johnson's Cowboys are now 4-2 as they win in County Stadium in Milwaukee over the Packers, 20-17. And Tommy, first things first here, we talked about the Jets and a young team on the road in a game they should win. Could they do it? Well, this is twice now. At Cleveland, at Phoenix, now third time. The Cowboys are perfect 3-0 on the road. They're really a team that's coming a long way. Let's get to the other game. The Lions and the Vikings. What a big win for Detroit. They're now 5-1 and in first place.
Two teams headed in different directions, Chris. You know, this is a big win for the Lions. They proved that they could come back. They've been taking a lot of flack because the wins, the 4 wins they had before today, people had said they were playing suspect opponents. I think today that they proved they're headed in the right direction, and they proved once again the guy to go to. Even if he gets stopped the first 3 quarters is Barry Sanders.
Yeah, going in their 4-1 mark, their 4 wins had come against teams 3-17. You say, the Vikings 2-4, but a big, big win for the Lions going into the bye. As for the Minnesota Vikings, you think it's decision time, Tom?
This is a team that's been talking the last couple of years, Super Bowl. They've had 10 Pro Bowlers, as many as 11. And this team, Joey Browner told me during camp, we have to win or they won't be keeping this team together. I think that this game has to prove to that organization this doesn't work, and I think we're going to see changes made.
Yeah, and maybe even during the bye. We shall see. The Vikings, they look good on paper, but never did quite pay off. I think you're right, Tommy. When we return, we've got more to show you. Remember, we're up to the top of the hour. We got a full half hour to go here, Week 6 of the NFL. But inside the numbers, the Vikings, who were squashed like a grape in the fourth quarter today at the Silverdome, in the first 3 quarters, they're fine. But in the fourth quarter this year, they've been outscored 56-9. Hard to win when you do that. Marquee game today in the AFC. 4-1 Denver at 3-1 Houston. The Oilers in the Dome were tough. NFL Primetime. We're up to the top of the hour. We've got a lot of big games to show you, a couple of late highlights. And the marquee game in the AFC, as we told you, the Denver Broncos, the leaders in the West, against the Houston Oilers, coming off a bye, the leaders in the Central. But on this day, similar records were very deceiving. It happens sometimes when you play in the Dome. It still is, even though Jerry's gone to the house of pain. Steve Atwater trying to apply some pain of his own on Haywood Jeffries. Houston's men of pain, Ezra Johnson, Lee Williams sideline. So Lamar Lathan greets John Elway, beginning of a long day for number 7. On the first series with Lee Williams out, Sean Jones is in, and he beats Jeff Davidson in sacks. Elway. Still in the first series, the punt is blocked. Bull Orlando blocks it. Bubba McDowell recovers 7-0. Tom, what happened?
Bad snap by Wydell here, and then Haran takes the extra step when he really didn't have the time to get the ball up, get the block for a touchdown.
Dan Reeves says you can't be doing that when we're already playing with a short deck on the road in this stadium. Meanwhile, Gaston Green has been great, Tommy, but not here.
Well, he runs into Doug Wydell, and there he gets smashed down again at the line of scrimmage.
So Gaston Green had compiled a couple 100-yard games in a row, but not on this day. Only 36 yards in 15 carries. Warren Moon, last time we saw him in New England, he was not very sharp. Guess what he was today? Razor sharp. Ernest Givens jitterbugs for 29 yards. Early in the second, Moon's only mistake is picked off, and Dennis Smith makes the tip. Wyman Henderson makes the pick. It's still a 7-0 game. Moon would get it back later. John Elway calling his own plays. In the flat, didn't want to call this one. Chris Dishman picks it off, and he could go all the way, but he doesn't. Elway with the saving tackle sets up a Pinkett run. Next possession, Elway hit by Sean Jones. Oilers recover the fumble, and Jones is too powerful.
And Elway was under this kind of pressure all day. Sean Jones just manhandles Jeff Davidson. John never had a chance, and this was the way it was most of the day.
Next Denver possession, the shuttle pass to Steve Sewell, but it's a fumble. And this time Chris Dishman does go all the way. 19 yards, a touchdown. Elway says, you know, it was incomplete. On the replay, it looks like William Fuller knocks the ball out before Sewell has control. Replay said, wow, we're not sure. 3 other touchdowns in 4 minutes. It can add up quickly as Dan Reeves finds himself down 28-0. That's Elway's numbers in the first half. Warren Moon not done. Warren over the middle to Ernest Givens from
Louisville.
And he rumbling, bumbling, stumbling. The Denver defense is trying to find him, but they won't find him until he picks up 49 yards, and he's tough on the
Just part of the package that is Warren Moon throwing under pressure. Simon Fletcher providing it there.
That sets up a pass to Haywood Jeffries. 35-0 Houston. Moon threw for 334 yards and only 19 completions. Broncos trying to salvage something. Jeff Treadwell blocked the field goal. So the Oilers special teams really had it racing this afternoon. Dan Reeves said, well, guess what? We're down 35-0. Second half, only problem the Oilers have were some injuries. Doug Smith, leg whipped here by Davidson, strained a knee, sprained an ankle. Smith has been hurt quite a bit. Cramped for Sean Jones. But the Oilers defense, 6 sacks today. William Fuller had 3. That time he nails the backup, Gary Kubiak. And the Oilers, in a laugher, win it at home big, 42-14. They played 3 games at home thus far. 42-14 today, only 17-7 in the Monday Nighter against the Chiefs, and 47-17 against the Raiders. So, Tommy, when you get the Oilers in the Astrodome, you're asking for trouble, and you're asking for trouble anytime you face a hot Warren Moon.
Well, Warren Moon has all the subtleties of a great quarterback. Whenever you watch him play, you have to watch him look the safeties off, as he does here. He glances to his right, forces All-Pro Dennis Smith to move over a little bit, gives Ernie Givens just a little bit more room to catch the football. That's something that's always much appreciated by wide receivers because it makes you not take that real big lick as soon as you get the football.
You have that feeling that the Oilers, their last time we saw them before the break was that loss at New England, that they were really chomping at the bit to get at somebody, and the Denver Broncos were in the wrong place at the wrong time. When we return, we've got plenty to show you, including the Seahawks and the Bengals. We got the big game between the Bears and the Redskins. In this Seahawks-Bengals game, could the Bengals get off the schneid? It was another intriguing tilt. There were a few of them today. And there's that Bears-Redskin tilt. You know there was some hard hitting in Chi-Town. NFL Primetime. The Cincinnati Bengals, along with everybody else in the AFC Central, got the week off this past week. But still, despite the week off, the Bengals have given up more points than anybody else in the NFL. So, would the bye week help their defense against Seattle? Yes. Would the bye week help them get their first win of the year against Seattle? Well, we'll take a look from Riverfront. Jeff Kemp starting. McGuire started last week. They go back to Kemp to Chuck Knox. Early on, 26 yards to Brian Blades down to the 44-yard line of Cincinnati. 2 plays later, John L. Williams bolts up the middle. And he's gone. 35 yards. The Seahawks lead it 7-0. Still in the first. Nobody play fakes better than Boomer. God, he can look so good sometimes. Tommy, here it's JB, James Brooks down to the 9-yard line. Last play of the first quarter. It's a Esiason to Eric Ball for the parent touchdown. But they say that the gun went off first. You listen, you watch, you tell me if Sam was upset. He was upset. They start at 2nd and goal. Anthony Munoz is the tackle eligible and alertly the Seahawks defensive. 3rd and goal, Craig Taylor is not in. Remember, they thought they had this touchdown. So Sam Weiss said, we're going to go for it on 4th and goal, and Eric Ball does get it in to tie the game at 7. Alex waits with a short punt. Is it a fair catch? The back man may have signaled for one. The short man, James Lynn, does not. They say Seahawks recover the fumble. What do you think, Tom?
The rule is if one guy signals for the fair catch, then you respect the fair catch call. This is a definite case of interference with a punt receiver. Of course, it was called wrong.
After further review, the Seahawks have the ball at the 33. Bengals defense take over. Alfred Williams knocks it into the hands of David Grant. So the INT gives the Bengals the ball. Boomer immediately takes advantage by throwing an interception to Eugene Robinson. We're tied at 7-all. At the half, the Bengals have turned it over 3 times in the first half. Things didn't get easier for Boomer in the second half. First possession, Cortez Kennedy. And then Nesby Glasgow finish him off. Seahawks get great position, 1st and 10 to the 33. Kemp to Tommy Kane. Tough catch in traffic in the old sandwich.
And watch the hit. I think the defenders took the worst of that.
Phillips and Dixon at least stayed in. John L. Williams maybe thinking about the hit, fumbles it, dribbles it, picks it up. And, what was it, Martha Reeves and the Vandellas? Nowhere to run, nowhere to hide. They settled for a field goal. It's 10-7 Seattle. Kemp in the end zone, picked off by Eric Thomas. Kemp threw for 204 yards on the day, was picked off 3 times. Bengals take the ball over at the 20 with 2 minutes to go. Remember the down by less than a touch. Esiason, Eddie Brown. Down to the 46-yard line. Esiason to Harold Green. And look at him, just bowl over tacklers. 44 seconds to go on 4th down. Esiason and James Brooks, does he get the first down? Just inches short. So down by 6, the Bengals turn the ball over on downs. And the Seahawks win it 13-7. The Bengals, they are still winless in the 91 season. Speaking of winless teams, the Chargers try to get up the Schneid with a 2-hour ride up the coast of the Mausoleum against the L.A. Raiders. Dan Henning and John Deep Freeze trying to get things going. MC Hammer at the game. Was it hammer time for the Raiders? In the Mausoleum under Art Shell, they're 16-2. Martin Bayless does the hammering of Swervin' Mervin Fernandez. Broderick Thompson chokes Howie Long. Terry McDaniel turns Marion Butts upside down. Raiders leading 3-0. You knew this would be a hard-hitting game in the second quarter. 3rd and 1. Freeze. Play action to Steve Hendrickson for a first down. Then Rod Bernstein. Boy, with him and Butts in the backfield, you get some powerful runs. It's a touchdown at 7-3, the Chargers. Todd Marinovich waiting for his chance. Jay Schrader had his. Tim Brown is wide open, but Schrader just overthrows him. Schrader then gets some help from the Lightning Bolts. He hangs it up for Willie Gault. The Sheriff, the rookie Stanley Richard there too soon. Hits the big flag, and the Raiders get the ball at the 1. After penalty, Schrader steps up, hits Ethan Horton. The spike is right at Henry Rowland, which he didn't like. The Raiders lead at 10-7. Remember the play. Freeze to ex-Buffalo Bill Ronnie Harmon. On the dump pass, he goes for 16 yards. Then Freeze to Harmon. Been a good receiver as a Charger. 26 yards. The Lightning Bolts are in business inside the 30. Freeze to Rod Bernstein. He bulls ahead for 12 yards. With the wall on the 1-yard line, Dan Henning says go for it. 7 seconds to go in the half. Marion Butts plows himself into the end zone. 14-10 San Diego at the half. Early 4th quarter to 14-13 San Diego lead. Roger Craig fumbles it, and guess who picks it up? Henry Rowland, and he's rolling for 53 yards. The question, he fumbles it out of bounds. Was it a fumble, Tom?
Well, it certainly looked. If you look at the replay here, it looks like Roger Craig loses the ball clearly before he's down on the ground.
Good call. The Chargers capitalize. Freeze to Marion Butts. John Freeze looking nimble on this day. Not for a lot of yards, but didn't throw the INT. Art Shell, a rare loss in the Mausoleum. The Raiders have beaten the Chargers in that building 8 straight times, but not today. The Chargers with their first win of the year, and they beat the Raiders 21-13. Costly win for the Raiders because division leader Denver was a loser this afternoon. When we come back, we've got more to show you, like the Skins and the Bears. We've got late Giants highlights. So let's go inside the numbers and look at 300-yard passers. 2 of them came from the game in the Astrodome. Warren Moon won it. John Elway lost it. Marino has had trouble throwing this year, but had a big second quarter against the Patriots, and they won. Coming up next, undefeated Skins and the hard-hitting Bears. We've got more on Primetime. 6, we can't wait till Week 9. Sunday Night Football on ESPN, the Skins at the Giants, 7:30 Eastern on October 27th. But that's in week number 9. Maybe the Redskins will stay undefeated by that time. They certainly were undefeated today as they went into Soldier Field to play the Chicago Bears, who suffered their first loss of the year last week at the hands of another undefeated team, the Buffalo Bills. Some folks are saying, the Redskins, are they that good? Well, week after week, more believers are starting to stand in line for the Skins. Neil Anderson, real men play on real grass, in anticipation of some big runs by Anderson. Some big catches. Ron Morris. Yeah. Eat. Yeah. Eat. Some big sticks. Nerve. Wilbur Marshall does the job on Tom Waddle. Mike Ditka, Joe Gibbs. Perennial playoff coaches. In the first quarter, Ernest Biner takes it from Rippon, rips up the middle for 25 yards, but
Number 81 on the offense. 10-yard penalty to keep it down.
And off the month. In the next series, Mark Rippon looking deep for Gary Clark. Slightly underthrown. A nice play by Lemuel Stinson. On the next play, Neil Anderson bursts outside for big gain to get out of the shadow of his own goalpost, but
Rip holding. Number 80 on the offense at the line of scrimmage.
two good teams playing a little bit sloppy for them. Not compared to some of the other games we've seen today, but for them. Jim Harbaugh's had a good year, but he struggled today. Charles Mann, Tim Johnson, Andre Collins battling through.
Yeah, at times the protection just wasn't there for him. Here you see the Redskins come at him with 7 people up front. Monty Coleman gets a hand up to knock the ball down. And then when Harbaugh did have time, he made a few mistakes today to throwing into quadruple coverage as he did there.
On the other hand, Mark Rippon Reed was ready. He reads the defense, goes across the grain to Ricky Sanders for 14 yards. Drive continues, 3rd and 10. Rippon off the back pedal against Gary Clark for 12. Boy, does he have a receiver stable or what in that posse? Rippon to Arthur Monk. Touchdown, 26 yards, 10-0 Redskins. Before the end of the half, a scary moment, Tommy.
Well, you hate to see this kind of play when two players butt heads like that because that can oftentimes result in neck injury.
Fortunately, Edwards jogged off. Anderson all right, 10-0 at the half. The Bears bleeding for a victory. Harbaugh. Teron Morris at the 40. Goes all the way down to the 29-yard line. Add 5 more after a penalty. It's a 40-yard pickup on 2nd and 7. Harbaugh on the flat to James Thornton, 13 yards. And to cap it off, how many times have we seen this? He's able to leap tall buildings with a single bound. As Neil Anderson, it's 10-7. The Skins lead down to 3. Every team has a go-to guy. The Skins have a few, but Arthur Monk, over the years, is as good as they get.
Yeah, you watch Monk go in motion. The tight end runs a check through. Ricky Sanders clears the zone for him, and Monk will make that catch 99 times out of 100.
In the fourth quarter on 4th and 4, big play here. Rippon to Monk. And he is hammered out at the 18 to pick up a first down. On the same drive, 3rd and goal, Rippon. Still looking. Here's the play on 3rd and goal. Rippon to the corner. And Arthur Monk has done it all by his lonesome just about. The Skins lead at 17-7.
Monk lines up inside, gets 3 Chicago defenders, beats them to the outside.
6 catches for 69 yards for Mr. Monk and a pair of touchdowns. In the end, the Skins defense, Matt Millen and company, handled the Bears. Deflection by Eric Williams, intercepted by Fred Stokes. And with big pressure, a classic case of putting it up for grabs. Gouveia picks it off. He goes away with the football. Jim Harbaugh has had some good games this year. Today wasn't one of his stellar performances. 3 INTs as the Skins up their mark to 6-0, with the Bills not playing until Monday night. And the Saints idle. The Skins the only 6-0 team in football. They beat the Bears 20-7, and you can see that they have outscored their opponents in those 6 games by over 120 points. Tommy, we see Art Monk and Clark and the posse and Biner and Rippon having a good year, the offensive line. They got a defense, too, don't they?
Yeah, it's a defense that's not spectacular. I think people who think that the Washington Redskins aren't a really good football team need to watch the consistency. And I still think that the most important move made by defensive coordinator Richie Pettibone was Andre Collins over to that weak side where he can freelance. And even though Wilbur Marshall didn't like the move to strong side, I like the results from that move.
You mentioned that on game day this morning. We watched it closely, and you know what? You've played that position before, haven't you?
I know a little bit about it.
All right. See, if you're not watching game day, you're missing this stuff. When we return, we've got Giants highlights to show you against the Cardinals. But first, as we go inside the numbers, 100-yard receivers. There was a pretty good number today. Ernest Givens, where did you go to school, Tom?
Louisville.
Had 151 yards for the Oilers. Novacek in a big game for the Cowboys. Eddie Brown in a loss. The rest of our honor roll, Mark Jackson, Ron Morris. They had C notes, but they didn't have a win. Prime time continues as we monitor the NFL. The New York Giants came into their game at the Meadowlands against the Phoenix Cardinals with a 2-3 record, and their rookie coach Ray Handley was definitely on the hot seat. Giants needed a resounding win over the Cards to restore some faith in themselves. Now, Ray Handley reading New York Post night and read that. They were all over him this week. He's reading his game plan. What else do you think he's reading? Get off his back. Giants looking to get on the ball early in the opening drive. Hostetler to Stephen Baker picks up 22 yards. Then, Hostetler moving nicely away from the rush. It's Howard Cross, slips a tackle, and he lumbers down to the 12-yard line. On the next play, Rodney Hampton goes up the middle. No fumble for the youngster. It's a touchdown. And the Giants lead at 7-0. Good running or bad tackling, Tom?
Well, I think it's a case of a little bit of both. This is what the coaches expected from Hampton, and if he can hold on to the football, it's going to be dangerous.
So Ray Handley still thinks they need a lot more. Guess what? He's right. Hampton says, I can give you more, coach. After a 52-yard field goal by the Cards, Hampton busts one for 37 yards. He had 101 yards in the first half alone. 3 plays later, Handley says on 4th and 2, we're going to go for it. And Hostetler to Mark Ingram for the 16-yard pickup. Fans enjoying the gambling coach. Oh, they've loved you all the way, Ray. 4 plays later on the play action. Hostetler to the former and now current Giant Zeke Mowat. 14-3, Haas and the Giants. On defense, LT trying to fire up the team. Taylor breaks up the pass from Tom Tupa-Lohoney. Later, LT beats Louis Sharp. Swats the ball away. Contagious. Pepper Johnson races through to slap Johnny Johnson for a 2-yard loss. Giants defense allowed only 3 Cardinal field goals. The real story today, Rodney Hampton. 10 more yards. Look at him cut nicely to the midfield stripe. And 11 more yards. Watch this carry.
You know, the Cardinals were tackling so well those first 2 games that's fallen off a lot as the season's gone on.
Yes, it has. Hostetler dumps it to Hampton for a 16-yard pickup. Going to go straight up the field on a little turn. He caught 4 balls. He rushed for 137 yards. That's his career high. And the Giants and beleaguered coach Ray Handley said, leave us alone. It's not pretty, but it gets the job done, and the Giants beat the Cardinals 20-9 to even both teams mark at 3-3. We have baseball tonight at the top of the hour at 8 o'clock Eastern Time. Still to come in NFL Primetime, you will hear and see our primetime players. But first, 100-yard rushers. Hey, Rodney Hampton getting some quality airtime in this section. Emmitt Smith over the C-note again. Barry Sanders, after 0.75, was tremendous in the 4th quarter. And as we said, coming up next, at the top of the hour, baseball tonight, farewell to Memorial Stadium in Baltimore. Mike Flanagan, the Orioles say goodbye, and David Cohn came.